I think I've seen this guy before. Oh, it's the Green Giant! I was hoping he'd be bigger.
The Seeker's an interesting case. Originally, this specific character was a nameless Decepticon who took part in an ability to basically fry Autobots with devastating acid rain, thus his name. Fans were intrigued by this concept, and the specialized squad called Rainmakers became an obscure favorite. It wasn't until 2008's Universe Classics when the Green Acid Storm got his official toy out of nowhere. Since then, Acid Storm came from one episode of Generation 1 to getting a bigger role as a gender-confused Seeker in Cyberverse. Seriously, he's portrayed as female and male in different episodes. Just pick. In Generation, Starscream released and we knew we would get a repaint, but for Acid Storm to beat Thundercracker and Skywarp was impressive. But how did the toy do? Before we take a look at Acid Storm, early Legends figures include these half-target, half-micromasters. Acid Storm is packed with Venom, a somewhat new character. You see, the Starscream came with Waspinator. Originally, the follow-up repaint was going to be Thundercracker and was planned to include Venom based on an original Insecticon. But in the change of plans and probably copyright issues, Venom was born. First of all, ew, bug. Second, as a little figure, Venom is a bit of a looker. I like how the deco's countered from the Wasp, with the green and purple swapped. However, the feel of this figure should be taken as a delicate Fabergé egg. Bug mode is the most sturdy with the head holding it in place, but I still don't feel comfortable with messing with it. It's got a peg on the back so you can plug it into the hand of some toys, and what kind of Twilight Zone shit is this? Does he swat bugs with it? The legs can move, physically speaking, but each joint is connected by another leg, so it's best to, well, try to line them up, and by try, I mean I hate these rubbery little... It's fine. In robot mode, you can definitely see the Waspinator in this, but with the black head, it kind of gives him his own personal vibe. It has a surprising amount of movement. Individual arms, legs are combined, but they do move, and the backpack can fuck itself. This junk really doesn't like to stay. I wish there was a tab to keep it together. Whenever I pick it up, I have to fix it. I guess it could be a flying effect, but it's lame. You could give him the Seeker null race on the smaller peg. Doesn't really stand, but if you can manage, then Rambo mode. Fold down the peg, bring together the back wings, and the barrel will extend to become a gun. You can see the robot from the bottom, and the legs are gross, but the execution is better than some of the other figures. Basic, but as a bonus, I can't really complain. Acid Storm transforms into a bright green jet similar in design to the IDW concept. The color might not be for everyone given how vibrant it is, but for me, I wish I could make love to colors. Such a beautiful, eye-catching color that's perfect for the original cartoon, who retained mostly green in the color scheme, but they threw in a taste of silver, white, and purple with two standout Decepticon symbols. And they didn't just trace around with white, that Decepticon logo has a slightly darker tone. I mean, I guess extra points, but we didn't offer extra credit. There's a burnt orange cockpit, but without a trace of color, it just looks like a baby diarrhea smudge. Landing gear on the front and two at the knees. While the back is stationary, the one in the front does fold up. But if you don't hold the rubber cockpit, you'll get into some issues. But I'm glad to say the Snoop droops. And when he pours acid rain on his foes, he could witness it as it unfolds. At night, all he could hear is the scream. Unless he's Pyro from TF2. I could be wrong here, but the shape almost feels like the classic style jet, but with the proportions of the F-22 model used for Starscream in the film. Anyone else get that? I don't know why I'm waiting for an answer on the pre-recorded video. You can plug a weapon on top, including Venom himself, but you also get two null rays that attach to the sides. Plugs right in, and you don't need to remove it for the transformation. Little easy to knock it out of place, but easy to readjust. Besides, without it, it just feels naked. The alt mode will bring you back to the classic episode, more so the very scene he was introduced. The excellent shape and bright color of green pops, making this very appealing. Robot mode. Storm is so simple to transform, I'm sure the chubby kid from Monster House can figure it out, but the robot mode is actually more satisfying than some larger Seeker molds. Have I mentioned Power of the Prime Starscream is pure puke? Robot mode brings in more silver and black, but the green remains prominent. Now that is one spicy Italian specially prepared meatball. One thing that's disappointing is the head. The paint is a little messy, it gets the point across, and the sculpt has all the features of a Seeker, but with the pin shoved right in there, there's no head articulation. Given the size, it's not a big problem, just a burden of how it's developed. Do you know what acid rain does to robots? Are you proud of yourself? Don't look at me with those eyes that make me feel good. Did someone say articulation? Ball jointed shoulders, ball joint elbows, ball joint hips, knee joint, and a joint in the heels and toes. If there's another thing I have to really complain about, is that there's no tab to keep the wings from flopping like a big salami. It's not really loose and can't get out of the way of the arms. I just wish there was a tab to help it. These smaller wings fold up to clean the legs, but you can also open them up, and he can assert dominance and intimidate snakes. And Wade Knight in Jurassic Park. Weapons include 2 null rays in black that you can add to the shoulders, or you can remove it, plug it into the hand, and now you have pissed me off. The fact that you can do this? Despicable. I will take my ignorance elsewhere. If you move the arms, chances are you'll have to rework the null rays in place. But hey, be patient, some men need a little work. At least it's on the upper arms this time. Makes me a giddy little boy, but even better is that he actually uses the cockpit as the chest. I swear these larger figures are trying to prank me. You don't need Venom as a gun. He's got weapons to work with, but you know, I'm not complaining. Oh no. What if he sprays acid venom? Is that toxic masculine something or other? I have a soft spot for Acid Storm. Character-wise in the show, there's not much to it, but he is incredibly obscure with an interesting ability, and to top it off, this is my favorite color. I feel this one's gonna be harder to grab, and his short size is not for everyone, but there's no harm in it. Seems to be a basic toy, but compared to some of the other Seeker molds, it's impressive, not to mention the brighter colors makes him a standout. Plus, I could do green screen, look! We're back at the dinosaur era. Amazing.